Hello and welcome. This is a story about Sean "Diddy" Combs, a famous music mogul whose powerful image hid years of abuse, violence, and scandal. Listen closely and learn English as we dive into real events, real court cases, and real consequences. Listening to true stories like this is a powerful way to build your language skills. Let's begin. In early July 2025, a jury in New York made a decision in the federal case against music mogul Sean "Diddy" Combs. He was found not guilty of the most serious charges like organized crime and sex trafficking, but he was found guilty of two other crimes: transporting women for prostitution, which is against a federal law called the Mann Act. Each of those charges could mean up to 10 years in prison. So, he could face up to 20 years behind bars. His lawyers asked the court to release him on bail, but the judge denied it. Prosecutors are asking for at least 4 years in prison. Until the final sentence is given, Diddy will remain in jail. This case is not the only legal problem Diddy has faced. It started long before this trial. In March 2024, federal agents raided his homes in Los Angeles, New York, and Miami. They found drugs like ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB. They also found modified guns and large amounts of sexual materials, including hundreds of bottles of baby oil and lube. These items were linked to events called freak-offs, which were wild parties Diddy was said to have organized. In September 2024, Diddy was officially arrested and charged. The charges included running a criminal organization, sex trafficking, kidnapping, and more. Prosecutors said he used his businesses and power to control women, force them into sex acts, and threaten them with violence or shame if they didn't follow his rules. Some of these events were filmed and used as blackmail. The court said these parties were not just private events, they were planned and run through his companies, including Bad Boy Records and Revolt. 2 women gave the most important testimony. One of them was his ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. She said Diddy beat her, controlled her with drugs, and forced her into sex with strangers. A video from 2016 showed him hitting her in a hotel hallway. She later received $20 million in a settlement. Another woman, called only Jane, said she was invited to a party and ended up drugged and forced into group sex. She said she was not allowed to leave and had no control over what happened. Diddy's lawyers argued that all the sex was consensual. They said the women stayed with him by choice and that they were only suing now to get money. But the jury did not believe this completely. While they didn't convict him on all the charges, they did agree that he had transported women for illegal sex. Diddy is also facing many other lawsuits. Over 60 people have filed civil claims against him, accusing him of rape, harassment, and emotional abuse. Some cases involve underage girls. One cook who worked for him said he sexually harassed her. Another lawsuit accused him of raping a 13-year-old girl at a party in 2000, but that case was later dropped. He also had legal troubles in the past. In 1999, he was involved in a nightclub shooting in New York with Jennifer Lopez and rapper Shine, though he was not convicted. In 2015, he was arrested for attacking his son's football coach, but that case was dropped too. As for drugs, although Diddy was never charged with drug use himself, drugs were a big part of the case against him. Witnesses said he used them to control and weaken women during parties. The court heard that drugs like GHB and ketamine were used to keep the women under his influence. After all these problems came to light, Diddy's business empire began to fall apart. He lost deals with major brands. Stores stopped selling his clothing line. He left his media company Revolt. His reality show was cancelled. Colleges took back awards they had given him. Even the city of New York took away the key to the city they had once given him. Sean Combs was born in 1969 in Harlem, New York. His father was killed when Diddy was only 2 years old, and he was raised by his mother. He went to Howard University but left before graduating. He started in the music industry as an intern at Uptown Records. He was smart, confident, and very ambitious. Soon, he was producing music and managing artists. In 1993, after being fired from Uptown, he started his own label, Bad Boy Records. That label helped launch the careers of artists like the Notorious B.I.G., Faith Evans, Maze, 112, and Total. Diddy became known as a hitmaker. He was behind major songs that shaped 1990s hip-hop and R&B. He also started his own music career, with the 1997 album, No Way Out, that won a Grammy and went platinum. His stage name changed over the years, from Puff Daddy to P. Diddy, and finally to just Diddy. He also built a big business empire. He launched a clothing brand, Sean John, which became a huge success. He had deals with vodka brands, water companies, and a major TV channel, Revolt. Diddy was seen as one of the most powerful black entrepreneurs in America. He appeared in Forbes' richest celebrities lists. He threw big parties, made deals with other celebrities, and lived a flashy lifestyle. But while his career was rising, trouble followed him too. In 1999, there was a shooting at a nightclub in New York City. Diddy and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez were there. 3 people were injured. Diddy was charged with gun possession and bribery, but he was found not guilty. His protégé, rapper Shine, went to prison instead. The case made headlines everywhere and hurt Diddy's image. Years later, in 2005, he was sued by a man who said Diddy's bodyguards beat him up. In 2015, another case came up. Diddy got into a fight with his son's football coach at UCLA. He was arrested but not charged. These weren't huge scandals, but they added to a picture of someone who often used power and control to get his way. There were also smaller but strange controversies. One man claimed Diddy punched him at a party in Miami. Another said Diddy forced guests at his mansion to watch him have sex. Stories like these often came out in gossip sites or tabloid news, sometimes hard to prove, but repeated often enough that they began to form a pattern. Then there were the whispers, stories about wild parties, drug use, and controlling behavior. Over the years, several people said Diddy was demanding and explosive behind the scenes. He was known to yell at staff and fire people over small mistakes. He often talked about success and hard work, but former employees described a tense, sometimes toxic work culture. Despite all that, his fame stayed strong for decades. He was praised for bringing style and glamour into hip-hop. He won awards, hosted major shows, and was called a pioneer. Even when lawsuits popped up or rumors swirled, he managed to protect his image, until 2023. That year, the lawsuits started to pile up. Cassie, his longtime girlfriend and former artist, filed a lawsuit with shocking claims of abuse and trafficking. The case settled quickly. Diddy paid her a large amount of money. But it opened the door for others. In the months that followed, more and more people came forward. Some said Diddy raped them. Others said he beat them or drugged them. Some were men. Some were minors at the time of the abuse. Diddy denied everything. He called the lawsuits false and said he was being extorted. But then the video came out, a security video showing him beating Cassie in a hotel hallway. That moment shifted public opinion. People who once defended him began to speak out. His public support faded. Brand deals disappeared. His businesses began to close down. And finally, federal charges were brought. His past, once hidden behind money and fame, was now fully exposed in court. Now Diddy, once at the top of music, is waiting in jail for his sentence, facing the real possibility of many years in prison. During the federal trial, several witnesses took the stand to describe what happened behind the scenes. Their stories were often disturbing and emotional. The courtroom heard about abuse, manipulation, control, and fear. The most talked about witness was the woman referred to as Jane. She was not named in public to protect her identity. Her story was one of the strongest pieces of evidence. She said that when she first met Diddy, he seemed charming and powerful. He invited her to a party, and that night everything changed. She said she was given drinks, then pills, and then brought into a room where she was forced to take part in sex acts with strangers. She said she couldn't leave. She described being slapped, threatened, and filmed. She said Diddy used the videos as blackmail. She was scared and felt trapped. Jane's testimony matched what other women had said in lawsuits. There was a clear pattern. Diddy would offer them attention, gifts, or a career. Then he would begin to control them, through drugs, threats, and violence. The parties he hosted, called freak-offs, were not private moments between adults. They were planned, regular events involving escorts, cameras, drugs, and power games. Another witness was a former bodyguard. He talked about how security teams were told not to interfere during these parties. He said they were trained to keep things quiet, cover things up, and protect Diddy's image. He claimed he once saw a woman being dragged out of a room while screaming. He was told to ignore it. Testimony also revealed how Diddy used his staff. Some drivers said they were told to pick up drugs or transport women. Assistants said they were ordered to clean up after sex parties or destroy evidence. The prosecution showed text messages, emails, and security footage to support these claims. In response, Diddy's lawyers said all of this was false or taken out of context. They said the witnesses were lying or exaggerating. They tried to show that the women kept returning to Diddy's life, so they must not have been victims. They pointed to friendly texts or old social media posts where the women praised him. But the jury did not fully believe the defense. They decided that the crimes of transporting women for illegal sex were proven. After the verdict, the music world reacted with shock, anger, and silence. Some artists who used to work with Diddy cut ties. Others said they believed the victims and apologized for not speaking up sooner. But many stayed quiet, worried about their own careers or what might come out next. Diddy had once helped launch the careers of many stars. Now, being connected to him was seen as shameful. Online, people shared stories. Some defended him, calling the trial unfair or politically motivated. But most were outraged. The video of him hitting Cassie, the court evidence, and the number of people accusing him were too much to ignore. His name became linked to abuse and manipulation. Meanwhile, the music industry faced hard questions. How had someone with this much power gotten away with so much for so long? Why did no one stop him? Some insiders said they always heard rumors. Some said they were scared to speak. Others said the industry rewarded silence, especially when money was involved. Now, there is more pressure to protect young artists and speak out against abuse. At the same time, other men in entertainment began facing renewed scrutiny. The case against Diddy reminded many people of other powerful figures who used fame to harm others, like R. Kelly or Harvey Weinstein. For some, the trial marked a turning point. A message that even the richest and most famous can be held responsible. But for the victims, it's not about headlines or trends. It's about trauma, justice, and healing. Some said they still live in fear. Some said they lost years of their lives. Others said they never got the apology or the closure they needed. Diddy remains in jail as he waits for his sentence. His legal team says they will appeal. But the verdict has already changed his life, and the way the world sees him. Sean Combs is now a convicted felon. Though he was cleared of the most serious charges, the 2 convictions for transporting women for prostitution are enough to send him to prison for many years. The judge has not yet announced the final sentence, but prosecutors are pushing for at least 4 years behind bars. His legal team has said they will appeal, but appeals take time and don't always succeed. Until then, Diddy is locked in a federal jail, without bail, waiting to hear how long he will be there. His business empire has almost fully collapsed. Companies have dropped him. Partners have walked away. His fashion brand, Sean John, is no longer in stores. His TV channel, Revolt, is moving forward without him. Schools and cities have taken back awards and honors. Diddy is not just out of the spotlight, he's become a symbol of power turned poisonous. His name, once tied to luxury and success, now brings up images of abuse, drugs, and violence. In the music world, the silence is deep. Many of the artists he once supported, produced, or mentored are avoiding his name. He was once a key figure in hip-hop, behind some of the most iconic songs of the 90s and early 2000s. He helped shape the sound of a generation. But today, even those contributions are being questioned. Was the music just a mask? How much of his success came at the cost of others' pain? Young artists and industry workers are watching this case closely. Many are calling for new rules to protect performers, especially women. There's talk about setting up hotlines, background checks, and stronger penalties for abuse in entertainment. Some are even asking whether streaming services should remove Diddy's music. So far, his songs are still available. But the public debate about his place in music history has already started. In private, some of his former employees and friends have said they feel guilt for looking the other way, for staying silent, for believing the lies. Others say they were also victims, just in different ways, manipulated, controlled, forced to serve his image. One former manager said Diddy ruled by fear, always making people compete, threaten, or betray one another to stay close to him. Some called it a cult-like atmosphere, where Diddy was the center of everything. For Diddy himself, his future is bleak. Even if he serves only a few years, his reputation is destroyed. Big companies will not work with him. Fans are turning away. And more lawsuits are still active. There are new civil cases being prepared, with more people claiming abuse. His lawyers are fighting back, but every new case brings more pressure. As the world moves on, the story of Sean "Diddy" Combs is now not just about music, but about power, how it was used, and how it collapsed. His rise was once seen as a symbol of success, a black man who built an empire from nothing. But his fall shows what happens when no one says no, when wealth and fame become shields for cruelty. Some people may always remember his music. Others will remember the trial, the video, the testimonies. But few will ever see him the same way again. This is where the story ends for now. But the effects of it, on the victims, on the industry, and on how we treat power, are still unfolding. And the name Diddy, once shouted on stages and in songs, now echoes in courtrooms and headlines, a warning of what happens when no one is watching, and then, finally, everyone is.